The bright lights of New York City have always been a magnet for drama, but when the worlds of professional sports, global pop stardom, and unfiltered morning radio collide, the resulting explosion reverberates far beyond the concrete jungle. It is a modern phenomenon how a single evening, a single seat by a basketball court, and a single choice of clothing can ignite a nationwide conversation that dominates headlines, splits fan bases, and forces us to look closely at the invisible lines dividing authentic loyalty from superficial spectacle. For decades, Madison Square Garden has stood as the ultimate arena where legends are forged under the most intense scrutiny imaginable, a place where true devotion is measured in years of heartbreak and unyielding passion, rather than the fleeting glamour of a paparazzi photo opportunity. When the stakes are at their absolute highest, every person entering that historic venue is placed under a microscope, their motives questioned, and their presence analyzed by millions watching around the globe. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and never miss the deepest deep dives into the cultural shifts and celebrity showdowns that shape our world, take a quick moment right now to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and join our growing community so you are always the first to know when the biggest stories break. The latest chapter in this ongoing saga of fame and fandom unfolded against the backdrop of one of the most fiercely contested sports championships in our recent history, where every possession carries the weight of an entire city's dreams. In an era where cultural icons hold unprecedented sway over public attention, their sudden alignment with long-suffering sports franchises can feel like a calculated maneuver rather than a genuine expression of love for the game. This tension between traditional sports culture and the omnipresent reach of modern celebrity lifestyle has created a fascinating battleground where critics and defenders square off on a daily basis. The conversation is no longer just about points scored or strategic plays executed on the hardwood. It has evolved into a broader discussion about identity, regional pride, and who truly belongs in the sacred spaces of local sports culture. It is within this charged atmosphere that a prominent media personality chose to voice what many traditionalists had been quietly whispering, turning a celebratory sports victory into a polarizing debate about authenticity and the commercialization of local loyalty. When an artist of global proportions steps into the epicenter of a major sporting event, the atmosphere inevitably shifts, drawing focus away from the athletes who have dedicated their lives to reaching the pinnacle of their profession. This intersection of entertainment and athletics has become a defining characteristic of our time, creating unforgettable moments of crossover appeal while simultaneously alienating purists who believe that sports should remain untainted by the circus of Hollywood glamour. The debate is rooted in a fundamental question of what it means to be a true supporter of a team, an honor that many believe must be earned through a shared history of struggle and endurance, rather than being adopted when a franchise finally reaches the grandest stage of them all. As the public dissects every movement and every cheer from the VIP sections, the line between genuine enthusiasm and performative marketing becomes increasingly blurred, leaving audiences to wonder where the truth actually lies. This fascinating cultural clash found its latest battleground on the morning airwaves, where influential commentators wield the power to shape public perception with a single provocative question or a sharp observation. The morning broadcast medium has long been the arena where raw, unfiltered reactions find a voice, reflecting the genuine sentiments of the street and challenging the carefully curated narratives presented by public relations machines. When a legendary radio host decided to dissect the sudden and highly visible alignment of a global music phenomenon with a historically resilient sports franchise, it was not merely an attack on an individual, but a defense of a collective identity that local fans hold dear. The skepticism voiced on the radio waves touched a nerve because it tapped into a universal anxiety about the dilution of local traditions by outside forces who seem to move effortlessly from one cultural trend to another without ever paying their due. As the narrative continues to unfold across social media platforms and traditional news outlets alike, the initial shock of the critique has given way to a much deeper examination of how celebrity influence operates in the modern landscape. The discussion has captured the imagination of the public because it represents a clash of titans, pitting the unmatched cultural gravity of a pop music empire against the fierce, uncompromising loyalty of a metropolitan sports community that prides itself on its grit and history. Every detail of that fateful night at the arena is being scrutinized, From the specific wording on customized apparel to the body language of those sitting in the most expensive seats in the building, creating a rich tapestry of interpretation that means completely different things depending on which side of the debate you stand. This is the stage that was set, a powder keg of expectation, tradition, and star power waiting for the perfect spark to set it off, illustrating that in the world of high-stakes entertainment and sports, nothing is ever quite as simple as it appears on the surface. The epicenter of this entire controversy materialized at Madison Square Garden during a breathtaking and nerve-wracking Game 4 of the championship series between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. An athletic showcase that was already primed for the history books before any celebrity presence was even factored into the equation. The air inside the legendary arena was thick with anticipation as the home team fought tooth and nail to secure a stunning comeback victory, ultimately scraping by with a razor-thin final score of 107-106. Yet, while the athletes on the floor were spilling blood, sweat, and tears for every single possession, a parallel spectacle was unfolding right at courtside. Taylor Swift, currently 36 years old and arguably the most recognizable musician on the planet, made a highly publicized entrance that immediately captured the attention of the television broadcast cameras and the thousands of spectators in attendance. She arrived clad in a custom royal blue top adorned with vibrant orange lettering that playfully read Stevie Nicks, a clever and unmistakable pun combining the name of the legendary Fleetwood Mac vocalist with the New York basketball franchise. This fashion statement was clearly designed to turn heads and establish an immediate, highly visual connection to the home team, signaling to the entire world that she was fully invested in the high-stakes narrative of New York basketball. However, the pop superstar did not attend this high-intensity championship matchup alone. She brought along an entourage of high-profile friends to share the prime courtside real estate and amplify the evening's collective star power. Flanking her were the celebrated musical sisters Alana and Estee Haim, who embraced the spirit of the evening by wearing their own custom-themed wardrobe pieces. Their shirts featured equally creative and pun-heavy text, with one boldly reading Nickelback and the other displaying Nicole Kidman, effectively turning their front-row seats into a coordinated fashion showcase that blended pop culture references with local sports iconography. Noticeably absent from this star-studded gathering was Swift's fiancé, the high-profile Kansas City Chiefs tight end and football champion Travis Kelce. His absence was not a matter of choice or a lack of interest, but rather the result of strict professional obligations, as he was locked down miles away attending a mandatory 3-day mandatory minicamp in Kansas City, leaving his famous partner to navigate the intense spotlight of the New York sports scene alongside her closest Hollywood confidants. Throughout the course of the thrilling four-quarter battle, the stadium's cameras repeatedly cut away from the fast-paced on-court action to capture Swift's enthusiastic and highly animated reactions to the unfolding game. She was observed blowing warm kisses to adoring fans in the upper decks, jumping to her feet to shout words of encouragement at the players, and engaging in deep, animated conversations with a rotating gallery of fellow A-list celebrities who had also secured coveted seats near the action. Among her high society companions for the night were the accomplished actress and Zoolander star Christine Taylor, as well as the reality television titan and global business mogul Kylie Jenner, creating a dense concentration of fame that threatened to eclipse the actual athletic competition happening just inches away. Once the final buzzer sounded and the Knicks secured their miraculous single-point victory, the celebrations reached a fever pitch, and Swift was ecstatically embracing and cheering alongside Mariska Hargitay, the beloved and longtime star of the iconic television drama series Law & Order Special Victims Unit, solidifying the evening as a massive, star-studded victory party that had been meticulously anticipated by media outlets like Page Six well before the first tip-off. The backlash to this seemingly joyful display of sports enthusiasm was swift and unforgiving. Originating from the influential morning radio show The Breakfast Club, where Charlamagne the God launched into a scathing critique of the entire display during Thursday's live broadcast. With an expression of profound bewilderment, the veteran radio host questioned the sudden and convenient emergence of the pop singer as a dedicated New York sports enthusiast, demanding to know how and why this sudden transformation had taken place when her historical roots lay hundreds of miles away. His co-host, DJ Envy, joined in on the critique with heavy sarcasm, pointedly reminding the global superstar and the listening audience that she was originally from Reading, Pennsylvania. and sharply suggesting that she should take her loyalties back down south to remain with the Philadelphia 76ers rather than adopting the New York identity for a trendy championship run. Charlamagne did not stop at mere questioning. He openly mocked the viral footage of Swift dancing and celebrating the victory, unleashing a sharp quip about how even inanimate objects like hula hoops would despise her rhythm, joking that every time she attempted to put one on, it would simply fall to the ground in frustration. Highlighting what he perceived as a highly performative and unnatural display of local team spirit, the morning show hosts were far from the only media figures who felt an intense wave of skepticism regarding the sudden appearance of the pop icon in the front row of a crucial championship game. The controversy gained immense momentum when an unwitting hot mic moment featuring the highly respected Knicks radio analyst Monica McNutt went completely viral across social media platforms shortly after the conclusion of the game. McNutt, entirely unaware that her microphone was still live and broadcasting to the public alongside her play-by-play announcer, Tyler Murray, was caught asking in a skeptical tone if that was indeed Taylor Swift seated down by the court. When Murray expressed doubt that it was actually the music icon, McNutt confidently pointed out the unmistakable long ponytail and the distinctive custom blue shirt that the singer was wearing. Upon realizing the truth as Murray attempted to snap a quick photograph of the scene to show his wife, McNutt dropped all professional pretense and uttered a blunt, dismissive phrase that quickly became a rallying cry for skeptical traditionalists everywhere, declaring that the singer was absolutely not a genuine fan and flatly stating that she needed to get out of here. Charlamagne triumphantly played this leaked audio clip on his show, echoing McNutt's words with intense energy and using it as definitive proof that true sports purists were completely aligned with his view that this high-profile attendance was nothing more than a superficial intrusion into a sacred local tradition. The ripple effect of this courtside controversy continues to widen as fans, critics, and cultural commentators debate the deeper implications of what transpired at Madison Square Garden. This incident is not an isolated event, but rather the culmination of a massive shifts in how modern superstardom interacts with the deeply rooted, almost sacred traditions of local sports franchises. For the communities that support these teams, a basketball franchise is not merely a commercial entity or a trendy backdrop for a photo opportunity. It represents generations of collective identity, shared hardship, and a fierce regional pride that cannot be purchased with a front-row ticket. When a global icon with no historical ties to the region suddenly appears in custom-made team apparel during the most critical juncture of a championship run, it inevitably triggers a profound protective instinct among the core fan base. The skepticism voiced by prominent media figures and sports analysts reflects a widespread desire to preserve the authenticity of these cultural institutions against what many perceive as an invasive, highly calculated wave of celebrity commercialization. This tension highlights a growing divide between those who view sports as a universal entertainment platform open to anyone who can afford the admission, and those who believe that true belonging within a sports community must be earned through years of unwavering loyalty during both the triumphs and the lean years. To truly understand why this moment has struck such a sensitive chord across the entire landscape of entertainment and sports, one must look at the journeys of the central figures involved and the complex dynamics of modern celebrity culture. Taylor Swift has spent over 2 decades building an unprecedented global empire, transitioning from a young country singer in Pennsylvania to a pop music juggernaut capable of shifting local economies with her stadium tours. Her career has been defined by an extraordinary ability to connect with millions of individuals through deeply personal storytelling, creating a fiercely loyal community of supporters known globally for their unmatched dedication. However, this immense cultural influence means that her every public action, wardrobe choice, and social outing is subjected to an intense level of scrutiny that few other human beings will ever experience. When she chooses to enter an environment as volatile and passionate as a New York championship basketball game, her presence ceases to be that of an ordinary spectator. It becomes a major media event that threatens to overshadow the monumental achievements of the athletes competing on the hardwood floor. The custom attire worn by her and her close companions, the Haim sisters, demonstrates a conscious effort to engage with the local culture. Yet the very perfection of the presentation can paradoxically make it feel less authentic to traditionalists who value raw, unpolished passion over coordinated public relations strategies. On the other side of this cultural divide stand the voice of the local community, embodied by seasoned commentators who have spent their entire careers documenting the gritty reality of regional sports. Figures like Charlamagne the God and Monica McNutt have earned their own dedicated followings by remaining fiercely authentic to their roots and refusing to compromise their opinions for the sake of polite convention. McNutt, a highly respected analyst known for her deep basketball knowledge and sharp insights, represents the pure sports purist who views the game through a lens of technical excellence and historical context. Her viral, unfiltered reaction on a live microphone resonated so deeply with the public because it was entirely unscripted, offering a rare glimpse into the genuine thoughts of someone embedded within the sports world. This clash of perspectives illustrates a fascinating cultural paradox where the irresistible force of global celebrity culture meets the immovable object of local sports tradition, forcing society to grapple with questions of who is allowed to claim ownership over a community's triumphs and symbols. The defense of the music icon, raised by commentators like DJ Envy, introduces an entirely different dimension to the ongoing discussion, suggesting a pragmatic approach to the intersection of celebrity and athletics. From this perspective, the presence of a massive global star brings an unprecedented level of international attention, glamour, and energy to a franchise that can ultimately benefit the team and its fans. The argument posits that in the high-stakes world of professional sports, any force that amplifies the excitement and creates a winning atmosphere should be welcomed with open arms, regardless of the underlying motives or the duration of the celebrity's historical fandom. The Dipperverse reflects the modern entertainment-driven reality of major sports leagues, which have increasingly evolved into global entertainment spectacles where the boundaries between pop culture, fashion, and athletic competition are permanently blurred. The fact that the home team managed to secure a thrilling single-point victory amid this whirlwind of media attention suggests that the players themselves remain focused on their ultimate goal, even as the stands around them are transformed into a star-studded Hollywood gala, as the dust begins to settle from this dramatic evening at Madison Square Garden. The silence from the singer's official representatives speaks volumes about the complexity of managing a global narrative in the digital age. In a media environment where a single viral clip or a sharp radio commentary can spark days of intense public debate, the decision to withhold immediate comment allows the public to project their own meanings onto the event. For some, the evening will always be remembered as a joyful celebration of New York resilience, where a global superstar stood shoulder to shoulder with local icons to cheer a historic franchise to victory. For others, it will remain a cautionary tale about the ongoing dilution of traditional fan culture, an example of how the relentless pursuit of celebrity alignment can alienate the very people who form the backbone of a team's historical identity. Ultimately, this captivating crossover